This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Well, good day, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Well, today is Thursday, June the 22nd, 2023. We're already into summer and already staring down the last week of June here coming up very soon. And 4th of July right around the corner of the year is flying by. But we'll keep you up to date with what's going on here throughout the day. And, of course, we're going to start off a little later on here talking to Erin Bryan. She's from Purina. We're going to talk about some of the swine and sow health products that they have got coming out and some of the results they're seeing. We're also going to take a look at that weather forecast that I don't think really has changed much since I was with you last. And also, we're going to kick things off by looking at that ag market recap. It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. Well, we're at the end of another trading day, and it's time to talk with Kaden Sweeney of agmarket.net. Kaden, what did we see in those markets today?
Yeah, Dustin, great markets today, kind of bucking the trend that we've seen so far this week, kind of taking, pullback this week, really a healthy thing. Pullback today, corn down about 10 cents or so, old and new. Old beans down 18 to 20 or so, and new beans down around 40. So pretty healthy pullback, really. But all things considered, beans at one point were down 55 cents November contract. So still some fight in there. I don't think anybody by any means is saying this thing's over, just to pull back today and continue to watch what weather does.
Yeah, and weather, obviously, as we've been saying, has been the most important thing that we've been watching these last couple of weeks, and we knew that coming into this growing season. Now, I have been hearing rumors there might be a few switches, but of course, it's always up in that 7 to 10 day where anything can change in a drop of a hat.
Yeah, for sure, and really, even in the last probably 3 weeks, that 7 to 10 day range has often forecasted some rains, and then they haven't come to fruition. I think the market now at this point is very much in the prove it to me phase. Forecast is great, and maybe it'll sell off somewhat like you've seen today. But in order for this thing to really get steam going back down, I think you've got to see rain hit the ground, and we haven't seen that quite yet.
Now, are you guys hearing anything as far as like the Mississippi River lanes are going right now? We know late last summer, we had that problem with the water being lower. Hearing a few things from some barge captains that up in the upper parts of the river valley, we're already starting to see some of that lower down, and they're setting some lighter barges. Are you starting to see that too further down?
Sure, I haven't heard anything too major yet. Certainly, like you said, we saw that last fall, late last summer, when the river got so low. Really haven't seen too much of that yet. And I guess more southwestern Illinois. I'm in eastern Illinois, but southwestern Illinois, they've really been in decent shape. We actually were in St. Louis here just last weekend, and river's not high by any means, but I don't think it's to the point yet that we were last year when it was a pretty major news story. I don't think we're there quite yet.
All right. Switching our gears over to livestock, we know that they've been kind of bucking the normal trend too, that they've been going up a lot with grains. And, yesterday was some pullback. Did we see that continue today, or are they able to take advantage of some of them lower grain prices?
Yeah, the cattle market liked corn off today. Live cattle up $1.50, feeders up $3 today. So kind of bucking the trend that we've seen the last 2 weeks where they've been selling off, kind of opposite of the corn market going up. Hogs, on the other hand, have been in a pretty healthy uptrend finally after so long. They've looked good for 2-3 weeks now. Lower on the day, though, down about $3 or so, kind of testing support technically today around the 20-day moving average. So, cattle market and hog market both kind of opposite what we've been seeing the last week or two, kind of moving in different directions then and today.
Has anything developed with the cash trade so far this week in cattle? I know there's been some quiet murmuring there.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything hard, fast yet, especially, with the way the corn market's been trading. I feel like it's been a little bit hard to keep up with. But, I haven't heard anything major, and I may be just out of the loop. But as far as hard cash numbers, I haven't heard anything outside of the realm of what we've been seeing the last week or two.
All right, Kaden, well, a lot of great information. If folks want to pick the brains of everybody over there at agmarket.net, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you all?
Yeah, just go to our website, agmarket.net. You can reach any of our team there, any of our brokers, as well as access our app trial or research trial. I'm happy to help any way that we can.
All right, Caden, we thank you so much for the insight, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Dustin. Appreciate it.
And that was Kaden Sweeney of agmarket.net. We're going to go ahead and take a look at those closing numbers. That comes to us courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. July corn was down 10.5 at $6.60 December new crop down 8 cents at $6.20 3/4. July beans down 14.25 at $15.50. November new crop down 37.5 at $13.39.5. Soy meal down $15.50 at $421.80. Soy oil up a dime at $54.83. Chicago wheat up 4.5 at $7.52 3/4. Minneapolis wheat up 2 3/4 at $8.84.5. Kansas wheat up a half at $8.72.5. September oats up a nickel at $4.09 3/4. August live cattle were $1.40 higher at $171.15. August feeders $2.95 higher at $230.67. July lean hogs down $2.90 at $91.85. Cutouts $2.65 lower at $96.85. Class 3 milk down 4 cents at $14.91. And that's been our ag market recap. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. And when we come back, I talk with Erin Bryan of Purina. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to AMPM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Well, we had the World Pork Expo here not that long ago in Des Moines at the Iowa State Fairgrounds. And of course, we talked about everything to keep that industry rolling forward into the future. And of course, with input costs being what they are and the markets being what they have been, at least for the first part of the year, you want to make sure you're getting the most out of your pigs, your sows, and the piglets when you're getting them off to a good start. Well, Purina's had some great products that they have been bringing out here in 2023. And we talk with Erin Bryan of Purina. She's one of the research technologists, and we find out what they're seeing in those results. We're being joined by Erin Bryan. She's a research scientist with Purina. Erin, thanks so much for taking time to visit with us today.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
So when we're talking about animal care, obviously we talk about disease prevention, and respiratory diseases, obviously like PRRS and others, are ones that we have to deal with and our animals have to deal with. And we do a lot of good work to basically get them through those diseases. But the thing is, there is that recovery time. It takes a lot out of them. That's what we're here to talk about today. So let's talk about, first of all, that issue where it's more than just curing the disease, it's bringing them back.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the difficulties that we see with some of these viral challenges, right? And so if we think about PRRS, especially that 1441C strain that's been blowing through everybody, unfortunately, that's a prime example of kind of the immunosuppression that PRRS does. And what's terrible about that immunosuppression is that it does exactly what you're alluding to. It prevents that recovery from happening. And so it's really hard for that immune system to get around that immunosuppression such that they can start to overcome that challenge. And not only overcome that challenge, but actually overcome the co-infections that come with it, right? PRRS always comes with a friend to the party, unfortunately. And it's hard to get over all of those challenges that they have. And so that's what causes these instances to stretch out, you know, and I've got several producers that I've talked to that are celebrating anniversaries of PRRS infections, which is just not something that we've seen before.
And so let's talk a little bit about what some of those, I mean, you talk about the immunosuppression, but I mean, how does that manifest itself when you're talking about animals coming back from a disease like PRRS and all those things that come with it? Like you said, always brings a friend to the party.
Yeah, and I have an analogy. It's kind of goofy, so I hope you'll bear with me, right? And so I have an analogy of the way that I think about some of that immunosuppression, right? And so if you imagine being in a bar, right, you can think about all the patrons in the bar being the microbes that you would have in your animal, right? And so we know that some of the patrons in that bar, if given the opportunity, might be a little rowdy or, you know, need to get kind of calmed down. And that would be the bouncer's job, right? And so if we think about the bouncer, that would be like your macrophage or your immune system, the innate immune system. And so the immune system's job is to police sort of what's happening in the animal's body, in their specific area, in their specific tissue, and make sure that there's not anybody there that doesn't belong, or there's not anybody there that's trying to veer out of their lane, right? Get a little too ratty. And so when PRRS comes in, what PRRS does, unfortunately, is blindfold that bouncer. And so that bouncer is no longer able to either police the area that it's in, and it can't go after PRRS itself. And so that's kind of the suppression that happens. And so when that's the case, just like in some college bars, if you're with me, right? If somebody sees that the bouncer is perhaps indisposed, they might choose to act rowdy. They might choose to veer out of their lane. And that's like those bacterial pathogens that start to show up. And unfortunately, it takes a long time for that macrophage to realize that it's been blinded. And by the time that it realizes that it's been blinded, PRRS has really sunk its teeth into that animal. And not only that, but all of those opportunistic pathogens that are existing have also really sunk their teeth into that animal. And so now, instead of rather than having just a little infection that we need to overcome, just a little bit amount of virus that we need to eradicate, get rid of, get out of that animal, we now have a whole mountain. And not only do we have a mountain of virus, we have a mountain of bacteria that we got to get rid of, right? And so it just takes an awfully long time for the animal to fight that war at that point. And so that's really kind of the crux of the issue with PRRS. And unfortunately, again, going back to that 1441C strain, it's just really good at doing that to the animal.
So to kind of feed into your analogy then, when you're treating PRRS and basically getting that blindfold taken off, but once the fight is over, you still got a messy bar you got to clean up. You got a bouncer who probably needs medical attention. You can't just walk away and expect everything to go back to normal. And that's where Purina's stepping in with some new products, right?
Yes, exactly. And so thinking about that analogy, our Endura products, so we have EnduraPig and EnduraSow. We're looking to take that blindfold off sooner rather than later. And so we're trying to reduce the amount of cleanup that you have to do. The sooner you catch the bar fight, the less shattered glass you've got, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's the whole goal here. And we've seen some really good success so far with it. Again, it's that immunosuppression that we're really trying to circumvent at that point, and that helps with stabilization. And that's really what we're after, right? Especially in economic times like what we're experiencing today. It's tough out there for producers, let alone add a PRRS infection on top of it or any other viral infection or bacterial infection. Anything that we can do as a vendor to those producers, anything that we can do to support them in a time like this, help stabilize that herd, help get them back to negative sooner rather than later, is good for us. And that's exactly what we're trying to do with these Endura products.
And of course, you have two different products. You have EnduraSow and EnduraPig. Because obviously you have two facets of the pork industry. You have the sows, you have the production, getting those piglets, raised, and obviously then you have the finishing aspect of it. So, and obviously different needs for each operation. So why don't we talk first about EnduraSow and what makes that set apart from what they need with the EnduraPig program?
Absolutely. And so if you think about the difference between a sow and a weaned pig, right, we're really talking about two different beasts, if you'll excuse my pun. And so we think about a sow, she's been around the block. She's seen some things. She's been vaccinated for some things. She's had enough time to fully develop her immune system. She's got all the pieces and parts needed to put together her whole complement, right? And so she requires a different type of support. And we also think about her energy requirements are a little bit different than a weaned pig, right? She's got a lot of reproductive responsibilities that she needs to put energy towards. And so how do we help support that immune system? Fully robust, fully capable, fully mature. How do we support that immune system in a way that we're not taking away from those reproductive responsibilities, such as she can continue to reproduce, continue to be as productive as she possibly can while undergoing a viral challenge or a bacterial challenge. And then with the EnduraPig, unfortunately, with weaned pigs, they're in a really tough spot, right? And I think even if people don't know the statistics that I'm about to throw out there, I think they know this sort of intuitively with some of the challenges that we deal with in the nursery, right? And so a pig's immune system is actually not fully developed until several weeks after they're weaned. And when I say fully developed, I just mean that they have all the pieces to the puzzle. It doesn't mean that they've put it together yet, right? And that's the maturity aspect of it. So not only do we not have all the pieces, we haven't even gone through that maturity aspect yet. And so that immune system is just not prepared for the influx of virus that would happen if they are exposed to PRRS, or if they're exposed to something like E. coli or myco or pick your pathogen, right? And so that immune system requires a very different type of support. That immune system requires a little bit more robustness. They require a little bit more of a kick in the pants, right? In order to get going, just because they don't have sort of the wherewithal, they don't have all of those components ready to go and sort of primed. And so that product is really designed for those more immature pigs, such that we can help them get going when they are experiencing that viral challenge earlier on, even before that immune system is fully developed. And so that's really kind of the crux of the difference between both of those.
And so you launched the products beginning of the year. What kind of results are you seeing thus far?
Oh gosh, we're really excited about them so far. Most of the field trials that I've seen have been very positive. And so one of the big takeaways that I'm most excited about personally is the stabilization concept, right? And so it's great that we can help pigs perform while they're undergoing a challenge, but at the end of the day, nothing's a silver bullet, right? Those pigs are still sick. And so if we could do something to help get those pigs not sick, that's going to be the win for the producer, right? And that's what we've seen consistently in the field so far, is this concept of stabilization happening sooner, such that you have the opportunity to then walk that infection off your property, right? And that is the end goal. We don't want to be having conversations with producers that are celebrating anniversaries, like what I mentioned before. Producers don't want to be celebrating anniversaries, right? And our whole goal here is we want to make depopulation look less enticing, right? Because what a challenging choice to make, right? We want to think about sustainability for our producers in the way that not just the green tag label, but we want to make sure that they survive through some of these infections that are continuing to evolve, so the family farm can continue. So you can pass it on down to the next generation, and keep producing pigs, keep feeding the world, right? And so our whole goal, what I'm most excited about that we've seen consistently, is that stabilization. Let's get this off of your farm. Let's get you back to production as normal. And oh, by the way, we're going to help with, lactation feed intake. We're going to help with some of the reproductive measures that you would see on a sow farm, like time to estrus. We're going to help with pre-weaning mortality, things like that, reducing that viral load in that weaned pig when they go into the nursery. All of those things lead into that stabilization. But again, to me, the big take home is really getting that virus off farm.
All right, so if our producers out there are hearing this, seeing this, and they want to learn more about those products, where's the best way for them to get started?
So you can go to our website, purinamills.com. We should have some information on there, but really I would recommend that you reach out to a Purina representative near you. If you don't have one, or you're not aware of who that is, by all means, click on the Ask an Expert button on purinamills.com. You're actually going to get directed straight to me, and I'm happy to answer whatever questions you guys have. This is my whole job. I feel really strongly about it, right? And so any further information, happy to share some of the data that we've talked about here briefly, and hopefully we can find a solution that's right for them.
All right, that is Erin Bryan here, our guest at the World Pork Expo. Thanks so much for sharing that information with us.
Oh gosh, thanks for having me.
And that again was Erin Bryan of Purina. Let's go ahead and take a look at that ag weather outlook. Well, just like it's been every other day so far this week, in case you've missed it, it's sunny and it's hot out there. It's still dry, not seeing much rainfall, maybe some scattered showers here and there. Nothing really in the forecast of any definition until maybe Saturday or Sunday, but we're going to have to wait and see how that goes. Well, let's see what the National Weather Service has in store for us, though, for the next 24 hours. Well, as we said, it's been pretty well sunny and warm and a cookie-cutter forecast throughout most of this week, and we're seeing that continue today. Highs in the upper 80s to the low 90s. Now, tonight it's going to be mostly clear skies, but that is really not going to give us a whole lot of relief from the heat, as those temperatures will stay in the mid-60s. Now, tomorrow it'll be pretty much the same as today. There might be a few more clouds rolling into the northwestern part of the state, but otherwise it's going to stay warm. Highs in the upper 80s to the low 90s. Taking a look at the affiliate weather map for you in Cherokee tomorrow, expected to be partly sunny and 88. Shenandoah, partly cloudy to mostly sunny and 89. Des Moines and Albia, both sunny and 91. Waterloo, the hot spot, sunny and 92. Clinton, sunny and 90 degrees. For more detailed forecasts in your area, tune to your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliates. And that's been our Ag Weather Outlook. And with that, we're at the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. Also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, and on our YouTube channel. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified every time we put out a new AMPM episode. Also, you can follow along with my series covering my trip to Brazil earlier this year, as we've been rolling out those episodes every week. You can also check out our free Twice Daily Market podcasts. Those are through Amazon, Apple, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the iARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Riley Smith and Mark Magnuson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.